Hello, all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. Today, we are going to be doing an analysis of the second Kyoshi timeline character that was released, Fire Nation Rangi. So this is a very offensive firebender from the Kyoshi timeline, and she is currently in the same banner as Avatar Kyoshi herself. They're currently sharing space in that banner, splitting kind of the rates between the two of them. And if you saw my summoning guide, you'll know that I actually was lucky enough to get Rangi on pity. You'll also know that I was calling her Rangi. Turns out hard G. It's a Rangi. Yeah. So, not my finest moment there, but that's okay. It's no secret that I suck at pronouncing names. I would like to enter in exhibit Pirate Man. Not even trying on that one, but we will talk about him another day. Today, it is all about Rangi and what she can do. So let's take a look at her basic here. Her basic is Flashpoint. Deals explosive damage to one enemy. This attack cannot land as a weak hit. So what explosive damage does, damage dealt to the front line hits all other opponents after. What that basically means is, if she hits the frontline opponent, this turns basically into an AoE. It's not the same amount of damage dealt to the front line that's dealt to everybody else, but it's going to be a bit less. But effectively, this becomes a powerful AoE attack. Very simple and straightforward, and it can't land a weak hit, which means you don't have to worry about it not doing as much damage as it possibly could against the front line if you maybe don't have affinity advantage against them. Looking at her advanced here, this one is very interesting. If you've seen this one, you've probably seen a few comparisons to Fire Nation Zuko, and for very good reason. Flame of Judgment deals 3 hits of firebending damage to one enemy. This attack cannot land as a weak hit. Damage dealt increases by 20% if the target is in the front line, and enters a Fury state for 1 turn. That Fury state can go up to 2 turns if she gets up to skill level 4. Now, there's a few things to break down here. First of all, firebending damage. Remember, that means she will inflict the fire debuff on the enemy. This is per hit. Something I've noticed with these bending attacks, since she does 3 hits, that can take it up immediately to rank 3 firebending. Not to be confused with like when you're comboing and stuff where you need like a rank 1 and a rank 1 to get a rank 2 and then 2 rank 2s to get a rank 3. In this case, you just need all 3 hits to proc the firebending debuff, and it will jack it all the way up to rank 3 immediately. So she has got some extremely powerful application power there. And keep in mind, firebending basically just makes your enemy take a ridiculous amount of damage. So, very powerful thing there. And then, deals increased damage if the target is in the front line. Something to keep in mind, the front line, remember, they take 10% less damage. Rangi don't care about that. She says, yeah, you're going to reduce my damage by 10%, I'm going to increase my damage by 20%. She doesn't care. She's just going to hit even harder. And then Fury State. Just straight up increases damage dealt by 25%. Plain and simple. You can't go wrong there. Just more damage. And then you'll see how that plays into her passive here. Burning Discipline. Increases damage by 15% for 1 turn when a damage increase effect is granted to the caster up to 2 turns. Up to 2 times per turn, and yes, that does include Fury State. So basically, she gets increased damage, she gets even more increased damage, and you'll see she pairs very well with some of the Kyoshis. I believe young Kyoshi is the one who pairs best with her, but I think a Mastery level 4 Avatar Kyoshi can actually pair really well with her as well. So very important to keep in mind there. She plays very well with Kyoshi there. And then we do have some skill masteries, of course. At Master Level 2, increases focus by 10% upon entering Fury State. Never a bad thing to get some combos or get closer to your ultimate attack. Remember, ultimate attack scales on attack, and Rangi is very attack-based. It would hit like an actual truck. So if that's what you're shooting for, this is not bad at all. Master level 3. Increase the speed of the ally with the highest defense, hint hint Avatar Kyoshi, by 30% for 1 turn upon entering Fury state. I mean, this, especially in kind of the current meta, how defensive characters are so powerful, yeah, this can absolutely help out by making those otherwise usually slower characters, giving them a much needed speed boost. And then Master level 4 here increases damage by 30% for 1 turn when a damage increase effect is granted up to 2 times per turn. Basically, cranks it up from 15% to 30% at Master level 4. She does some damage. She hits like an actual truck, and it is not a bad comparison to say that she is basically Fire Nation Zuko 2. The only thing she does lack is that endurance effect of Fire Nation Zuko, which is going to give him an edge in that regard. But Rangi over here absolutely has him beat in damage. Not only does she have a 3 attack like that, but the ability to do a rank 3 fire debuff with 1 hit cannot be understated. If we're talking about breakpoints as far as getting her skilled up, if you wanted to get more than 1, or if you want to use your hard-earned skill level tokens, she is pretty pricey as far as getting some actual major value. Now, the nice thing is with her, any damage buff is really going to count because she is all about just raw damage. So any damage buff you get from the skill levels is not bad at all. But if you're trying to get her, if you're talking about where she does the biggest jump in power, that's unfortunately going to be level 4, where she gets 1 more effect duration to her Fury state, which is a pretty hefty buff, I will say. But that's not going to happen until skill level 4, so you would need either several copies or several skill level tokens, or a mix of the two. Just kind of something to keep in mind, but she can absolutely do her job well at just base skill level. She works just fine, and this one you wouldn't even see a buff until freaking level 6 anyway, so I wouldn't even worry about that. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at her arts. If I were to give a recommendation, I'd say go for maximum attack. Just go whole hog on the attack sets. Maybe mix in some speed if you have some really good speed sets, and maybe you've gotten lucky, you've got some 4-star speed sets, or some really good accuracy speed sets. If you find yourself in that position, then yeah, speed will absolutely serve her well. But if you notice here, I've got her absolutely cranked up with attack sets. I've got a 4 set here of just the basic attack set effect, and then a 2 set of the deserter effect, because I felt like that would grant her more attack than going for an extra 5% on the 6 set, and then only getting additional attack when you go below that HP threshold. She's not bulky. She is not bulky, and remember, like I said, unlike Fire Nation Zuko, if she takes a KO, it's going to KO her. So I kind of went a little nutty here and mix and matched my attack sets to really maximize what she can do. And if we take a look at what we have here, I do have crit on here because I needed the good accuracy part, but everything else I do just have straight up attack. And then I actually got pretty lucky here. I have got every single art set with accuracy, and I would recommend you do the same. The reason I say that, her base accuracy is pretty low at 10%, which is unfortunate because her advanced skill, remember, your bread and butter is trying to get to that rank 3 firebending debuff. If you can get to that rank 3 debuff, you've done your job very well, and you want as much accuracy as possible to get to that point. So just kind of something I keep in mind, attack and accuracy with some speed. If you get some really good parts for a speed set, I'd say that would be the best thing to go to. Not a huge number of options as far as like good pets. I mean, the Komodo Rhino is probably going to be your go-to pretty much universally as far as building like a team around her or around Firebenders goes. And then you do have, of course, the Owl Wolf is good as well for crit rate. It's not bad, but your go-to is going to be the Komodo Rhino if you can help it. If you do have a good Komodo Rhino on you. Hopefully we will get some more supports for Kyoshi timeline characters. We shall see. Now, taking a look at the relics. The relic that she's currently in the banner with is the Inheritance. Now, looking at it, I mean, it literally says left to Kyoshi. It's clearly meant to be Kyoshi's main relic. I personally don't think it works very well for Kyoshi, especially when compared to like the Origami Flower or the Games of War, I believe it's called. Yes, but between Games of War and Origami Flower, I don't think it works really well for Kyoshi. However, I do think this actually works pretty well for Rangi, because first of all, has a very nice attack stat, not bad at all. Has a little bit of defense to kind of, shore her up a little bit. And then the passive here will increase the defense of all allies for 2 turns whenever the opponent uses a multi-hit attack. Here's where I'm going with this. Imagine you put Rangi in the same team as Avatar Kyoshi. They're clearly built to work together, especially when you factor in Rangi's skill mastery. You put them in the same team. Avatar Kyoshi is running the Origami Flower, getting the defensive buffs, and then Rangi can run this, so that whenever an opponent uses a multi-hit attack, like say you're fighting Zenfu or Fire Nation Zuko, they do their multi-hit attacks, she will grant this increased defense to herself and Avatar Kyoshi, meaning that Avatar Kyoshi can have her cake and eat it too, with the combined effects of the Origami Flower and the buff from the Inheritance on Rangi. Just a little food for thought there, a little bit of team building ideas there. I think that would be extremely effective. Now, let's say you didn't get a whole lot of luck with getting the Inheritance. Goodness knows it happens. Probably the next 2 items I would recommend would be either the Whale Tooth Blade, a very easy to get 3-star. You'd be lacking a little bit of the stats, but you do get this effect here, deals extra damage that ignores 15% of the enemy's defensive stat when you use an advanced skill. Her advanced skill hits like a truck already, so it is never a bad thing to just do even more. And then, let's say a 3-star, you're not really wanting to use the 3-star, the stats are a little low. The Fire Paper Dragon is absolutely a fantastic option. It has that much needed attack stat, and basically just increases your focus by a good chunk whenever you attack for a few times per battle. Once again, pairing well with her skill mastery, where whenever she goes into that Fury state, she's going to get some focus, and then the Fire Paper Dragon will give her even more focus, really just jacking that meter up as fast as possible. Like I said, Fire Paper Dragon, for the time being, probably going to be your best in-slot 4-star pick. But who knows? Never know. Might get something new in the future. We shall see. Who knows? Events happen. Sometimes we get some new 4-star relics and banners, so we shall wait and see. But that is where we are at. If we're talking about where she's good, she is a PvE monster. Boss fights, adventure battles, all that jazz. She is fantastic. She tears Avatar Aang apart in his boss battle, no questions asked. PvP, on the offensive side, where you are in control and you're kind of directing the characters where you need them to go, she is very good, especially if she's paired with Avatar Kyoshi and can then kind of bounce off of each other. She is very good. I question the validity of using her in defense when kind of the AI is in control, because the AI plays a whole lot better with characters who have a safety net like Fire Nation Zuko and Kiwak, or really bulky characters like the obviously meta Zenfu. But offensively, yeah, Rangi is extremely powerful in the back line, where she can just tear enemies apart. But that is where we have it for today. She is a very cool character. Hopefully you were lucky enough to get her if you were shooting for her. If not, then hey, maybe you'll have a little more time. This banner is going to be out for a nice long time, so if you're feeling desperate, we do have plenty of time to build up resources. But in the meantime, hope this guide has helped you out, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.